I never thought I'd find myself standing in my office at Maxwell Industries on a rainy Tuesday afternoon, staring at a cardboard box holding 5 years of my career. The corner office I had earned through countless late nights and sacrificed weekends suddenly felt foreign, like I was looking at it through someone else's eyes. "You have an hour to clear out," Robert Maxwell said from the doorway. His expensive suit was perfectly pressed, his smile carrying that particular brand of corporate cruelty I'd become far too familiar with. "Sarah will be taking over your position effective immediately." Sarah, my younger sister. The golden child who hadn't worked a day in her life until 6 months ago, when she decided to try her hand at the corporate world. Naturally, she started as a senior manager, courtesy of her friendship with Catherine Maxwell, Robert's daughter. I carefully placed my awards into the box. Regional Manager of the Year 3 years in a row. Top Performance in Sales, 2022, 2023 and 2024. Each accolade was a testament to the dedication they were now discarding. "Don't forget to hand over your building access card," Robert added, clearly savoring the moment. "We wouldn't want any unfortunate incidents." Suppressing a smile, I pulled the card from my lanyard, remembering the real estate deeds safely stored in my home office safe. Phoenix Holdings LLC, the company through which I own this entire building, was my most carefully guarded secret. Not even my sister knew her big brother was her landlord. "Of course, Mr. Maxwell," I said evenly. "Though I should remind you, the quarterly rent review is coming up. I'm sure you've received the notice from Phoenix Holdings." Robert waved his hand dismissively. Yes. Sarah will handle all that now. She's much more diplomatic than you. I'm sure she'll negotiate a better rate." If only he knew. The notice I'd sent yesterday wasn't about a rent review. It invoked the hidden clause in their lease agreement, one that gave the building's owner the right to terminate tenancy within 24 hours if certain conditions were met. Conditions like failing to maintain proper corporate governance, such as wrongful termination. I placed my last personal item in the box. A silver frame holding a photo of my grandfather, standing proudly in front of this very building 30 years ago, back when it was just an abandoned warehouse. "One day," he had told me, "people will realize that true power isn't about having the biggest office. It's about owning the ground beneath their feet." I was 12 when he said that. By 15 I was studying real estate law in my spare time. By 22, I had incorporated Phoenix Holdings with the inheritance he left me. And by 25 I owned this building, leasing it to Maxwell Industries at a generous rate. Not because I needed their money but because I knew one day this moment would come. "One more thing," Robert said as I picked up my box. "The severance package we discussed. The board decided it would be more appropriate to allocate those funds to Sarah's signing bonus. I'm sure you understand. Family first after all. Family first." How many times had I heard those words? When Sarah needed tuition money for her 3rd attempt at college, leaving me to pay my own way. When she crashed her new car and got a replacement while I took the bus to work. When she decided she wanted my job, and our parents told me I'd be selfish to stand in her way. "Of course," I said, walking past him. "Family first." The elevator ride down was silent but my mind was racing. By now my lawyer had received my message and started the proceedings. The eviction notice would be delivered first thing tomorrow morning, giving Maxwell Industries exactly 24 hours to vacate. Every lease violation, every discriminatory act I'd documented was neatly recorded. In the lobby, Catherine Maxwell was waiting with Sarah. My sister was already wearing a designer suit, probably bought with my stolen signing bonus. "Oh good, you're leaving," Catherine said coldly. "Daddy said you were being difficult about the office. Sarah needs to start redecorating right away." Sarah looked faintly uncomfortable. "I'll take good care of everything," she offered. "I'm sure you will," I replied. "Just like you took care of my career." "Don't be dramatic," Catherine rolled her eyes. "It's just business. Nothing personal." "Nothing personal." Just like it wasn't personal when Sarah told the board I was emotionally unstable. Just like it wasn't personal when she spread rumors about me and clients. Just like it wasn't personal when she convinced her parents to back her bid for my job. "You're right," I said, stepping out into the rain. "It's just business." Outside, the downpour had stopped, though the air still carried the weight of another storm. I loaded my box into the trunk of my modest, fully paid-off car. My reflection in the glass didn't show someone who had lost everything. It showed someone who was about to win. My phone buzzed with a message from my lawyer. Documents ready. Notice will be served at 9 a.m. tomorrow. Are you sure about this? I typed one word. Proceed. Driving home, I thought about Robert's face when he realized his company had 24 hours to vacate its headquarters. About Catherine's expression when she learned her family's tenant was the man they had just fired. About Sarah's shock when she discovered her new office wasn't hers at all. But mostly I thought about my grandfather's words. True power isn't about having the biggest office. It's about owning the ground beneath their feet. As I pulled into my quiet neighborhood driveway, another text came, this time from Sarah. No hard feelings, right? You understand it's just business. Family dinner on Sunday. I left it unanswered. After tomorrow there would be plenty of time for family discussions. For now I had work to do. Inside my home office, I reviewed the prepared documents. The eviction notice, the detailed list of lease violations, the press release announcing Phoenix Holdings' termination of Maxwell's lease. Everything was scheduled. Emails to employees. Lockdown orders to building management. Access revoked at exactly 9 a.m. Another message arrived. This one from my mother. Sarah told us what happened. We're very disappointed in you. Why couldn't you just help your sister succeed? I placed the phone face down on my desk. Tomorrow they would understand. Success built on betrayal is no success at all. Rain tapped steadily against the window as I finalized preparations. In less than 24 hours, Maxwell Industries would learn a valuable lesson about underestimating the quiet one. The careful one. The one they thought they could discard. They thought they fired an employee. Instead, they awakened a landlord who had been waiting 5 years for this very moment. And Sarah? She would finally learn that some games are won long before the other players even know they're playing. Tomorrow would be interesting indeed. 9 a.m. couldn't come fast enough. Maxwell Industries employees were already streaming in, coffee cups in hand, blissfully unaware that their workday was about to take an unexpected turn. At 8:45, I spotted Robert Maxwell's black Mercedes pulling into his reserved parking spot. Sarah's red BMW followed close behind. No doubt they had coordinated their arrival to make her first day as impressive as possible. At exactly 9 a.m., my phone lit up with a series of notifications. The security team confirming the access code changes, the building management system automatically locking all entrances, and, most importantly, a video call from my lawyer showing the eviction notice being served to a very stunned Maxwell Industries receptionist. I watched through my car window as chaos slowly spread through the building. Employees gathered in confused clusters near the entrance. Security guards explained that their access cards no longer worked. And then, the moment I had been waiting for, Robert Maxwell burst through the front doors, face red with rage, waving what I knew was the eviction notice. My phone rang. Robert Maxwell's name flashed on the screen. I let it go to voicemail. It rang again. Sir. I declined. A third call. Catherine Maxwell. Decline. Then came a text from Sarah. What did you do? I stepped out of my car, straightening my jacket. Time to make my entrance. The crowd parted as I approached, whispers spreading like wildfire. Robert spun around, eviction notice crumpled in his fist. You, he snarled, realization dawning on his face. Phoenix Holdings. It's you. I smiled, feeling surprisingly calm. Good morning, Mr. Maxwell. I see you've received the notice regarding your lease termination. This is ridiculous, he shouted, waving the paper. You can't just evict us. We have rights. Actually, I pulled a thick folder from my briefcase. I can. Section 7, Paragraph 3 of your lease agreement clearly states that any violation of corporate governance, including wrongful termination of employees, constitutes grounds for immediate lease termination. Would you like to review the documentation of my termination yesterday? Sarah stepped forward, her confidence visibly shaken. This is insane. You're just trying to get revenge because you couldn't handle me taking your job. Taking my job? I laughed, though there was no humor in it. Sarah, you didn't take my job. You conspired with Catherine to spread lies about me. You manipulated our parents into pressuring me to step aside. You stole my severance package. And now, I gestured to the building behind her. You have no job at all. Catherine pushed through the crowd, her perfect composure cracking. Daddy, do something. He can't do this to us. But Robert was already on his phone, presumably speaking to his lawyers. His face paled as he learned what I already knew. The eviction was legally binding and Phoenix Holdings had every right to enforce it. 24 hours, I announced loud enough for everyone to hear. That's how long you have to vacate the premises. Any belongings left behind after that will be considered abandoned property. 24 hours? Robert's voice cracked. We can't possibly move an entire company in 24 hours. We have clients, contracts, meetings. The same amount of time you gave me to clear out my office, I reminded him. Nothing personal. Just business, right? Sarah grabbed my arm, her eyes wide with panic. You can't do this to me. I'm your sister. I gently removed her hand. Family first, remember? That's what you always said. Well, this is me putting family first. My family company, Phoenix Holdings. The crowd of employees had grown larger, many filming the scene on their phones. By noon, I knew this would be everywhere on social media. But I didn't care. 5 years of careful planning had led to this moment. Oh, and one more thing. I pulled another document from my briefcase. This is a notice of legal action against Maxwell Industries for workplace discrimination, defamation, and breach of contract. My lawyers will be in touch. Robert lunged forward, face purple with rage, but Catherine held him back. You'll regret this, he spat. I'll bury you in litigation. I smiled, thinking of the extensive documentation I had gathered over the years. Every email, every meeting recording, every piece of evidence, carefully preserved. I look forward to discovery, I said calmly. I'm sure the board will be very interested in some of the documents I've collected. That got his attention. He knew exactly what I was referring to, the questionable accounting practices, the insider trading, the systematic discrimination, all of it meticulously documented and ready to be revealed. I checked my watch. You have 23 hours and 45 minutes left. I suggest you get started. As I turned to leave, Sarah called out, her voice breaking. What about Sunday dinner? Mom and Dad are expecting us. I stopped and looked back at her. Tell them I'm sorry, but I'll be busy. I have a building to lease to a new tenant, one that understands the value of loyalty and proper business practices. The next few hours blurred into a frenzy of moving trucks, employees packing, and executives making frantic phone calls. I watched it all from my lawyer's office across the street, where we were already fielding calls from potential new tenants. By midnight, most of Maxwell Industries was gone. I stood in my old office, untouched by Sarah's plans to redecorate, and looked out over the city lights. My phone buzzed nonstop with messages. Mom, how could you do this to your sister? Dad, we raised you better than this. Sarah, you've ruined everything. But one message made me smile. A text from my grandfather's old number, preserved by my grandmother. Your grandfather would be so proud. He always said you were the one who understood what real power means. The next morning, as Maxwell Industries scrambled to find new office space and contain the PR disaster, I sat in my home office reading the headlines. Maxwell Industries evicted. Family drama turns corporate scandal. Sister act gone wrong. The ultimate corporate revenge. But my favorite came from the business section. Phoenix Holdings emerges. The silent giant of real estate. The article detailed how my company had quietly acquired prime properties across the city, with the Maxwell building being just one of many strategic investments. A week later, I received a family dinner invitation, not from my parents but from my grandmother. When I arrived, she sat in her favorite chair, a familiar glint in her eye. Your grandfather kept a journal, she said, handing me a worn leather notebook. He wrote about you often. Said you were the only one who truly understood his lessons about power and patience. I opened the journal, recognizing his handwriting. My grandson asked me today why I buy old buildings instead of new ones. I told him what my father told me. The real value isn't in what stands above the ground, but in owning the ground itself. He understood. He'll go far, that boy. Sarah called, my grandmother added, pouring tea. She's moving to another city. Said she can't find work here anymore. Funny how things work out. I nodded, thinking of the offer I'd received that morning from a major tech company eager to lease the building. Their proposal included turning the lower floors into a startup incubator for young entrepreneurs. You know, my grandmother said thoughtfully, Your grandfather always said revenge is a poor man's game. Real success isn't about getting even. It's about getting ahead. I smiled, thinking of the future of Phoenix Holdings. It was never about revenge, I told her. It was about justice. And now, it's about building something better. That evening I drove past the building that had started it all. The Maxwell Industries sign was gone, leaving a blank slate for whatever came next. My phone buzzed. Sarah's first message in weeks that wasn't bitter or angry. I understand now. What you built, what you achieved. I'm sorry I tried to take it from you. I never realized how hard you worked for everything. I didn't respond immediately. Some lessons take time to sink in. Some wounds need more than words to heal. But as I parked in my driveway, I thought of my grandfather's words once more. True power isn't about having the biggest office. It's about owning the ground beneath their feet. And now, finally, everyone understood exactly what he meant.